Chapter 19, Set A. What page is that on?
Page 349.
349. All right. We'll see how good I am at these. A survey is carried out at a university to estimate the percentage of undergraduates living at home during the current term. What would the population be? All undergrads, regardless of where they live. All undergrad students. What's an undergrad student? You are either you are working toward your associates or your bachelor's. They're both undergrad degrees. And then graduate degrees would be master's or doctorate. Okay. What would a parameter be?
The ones living at home.
The actual percentage. Right? Parameters are, they describe the something about the population. So the population would be the people, that all undergraduate people, and then the parameter would be everyone who lives at home. Okay, number 2, the registrar. What's a registrar? Who is our registrar here at Emory High? Oh, Paula does the finances. Breezy is the secretary, office secretary. Tammy is the registrar. Right. Tammy's not a counselor. She's the registrar. She's in charge of student records. Breezy does attendance, but that's not the registrar. Okay. Keeps an alphabetical list of all undergraduates with their current addresses. Suppose there are 10,000 undergraduates in the current term. Someone proposes to choose a number at random from 1 to 100. Count that far down the list, taking that name and every 100th name after the sample. Is this a probability method? Yes, how come? Because we're not looking at everybody. We're looking at every 100th person. Okay? Is this the same as simple random sampling? No. We are using probability. We're saying that every 100th person would be a subset of the whole, but it's not simple random sampling. How come? Yeah, there is a pattern to the choosing. We're choosing every 100th person. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? So C, is there selection bias in this method or of drawing a sample? Yes, because choosing by I would disagree. Why would I disagree? They're in alphabetical order, right? So because they're in alphabetical order, I would disagree. So anyway, that's what I would say. There could be selection. Yeah.
So it's not going to matter if it's alphabetic.
Wait, a random number for every 100? Oh, sorry. I thought it was every 100th person. So 100 and 200 and 300. Okay, I agree. Thank you. Yeah, if we just chose the 100th person and the 200th person, would that be random? No. But this is a random number between 1 and 100. So, thank you. Yes, I agree. 3. The monthly Gallup poll opinion survey is based on a sample of about 1,500 persons. That's pretty amazing, right? They make inferences on the population of the United States, which is over 330 million. And all they need is 100 or 1,500 people. They've got it down. Okay. Scientifically chosen as a representative cross-section of the American public. The Gallup poll thinks that this sample is representative mainly because, 1, It represents the population with respect to such characteristics as race, sex, age, income, and education. Or 2, it was chosen using a probability method. Chosen using a probability method. It's random. It's a true random sample. And if you do it right, do you have to worry about race, sex, age, income, and education? No. And how would you ever know that it was correct? Right? I mean, if you want to do, what did they call it? Quota? If you wanted to do quota sampling, how do you know what the percentage of men is? You would need to know the population, and if you knew the population, then you wouldn't need to bother sampling, right? So it's that circle. It just doesn't work. Okay. 4. In the Netherlands, all men take a military pre-induction exam at age 18. The exam includes an intelligence test known as Raven's Progressive Matrices. I think it's the ASVAB. I think so. Although we don't give an intelligence test that I know of. And includes questions about demographic variables like family size. A study was done in 1968 relating the test scores of 18-year-old men to the number of their brothers and sisters. The records of all exams taken in 1968 were used. What is the population? All men 18 and older who were relating the test scores of 18-year-old men to the number of their brothers and sisters. So are we looking at just the people who took the test in the military or the population as a whole? The population as a whole. Okay. And then is there sampling error? It says no? So what did A say? Okay. So we're only looking at all men who took the test, right? So if we were comparing the test to all 18-year-old men in the country, would there be sampling error? Yes. No, we're only sampling those who signed up for the military. Or does everybody is forced to take the test. I'm failing terribly. Okay, so no sampling error because we're not sampling. It's a parameter. Boy, let's see if I can get the next one right. 5. Actually, I'm doing this on purpose just to make sure you guys are paying attention. Polls often conduct pre-election surveys by telephone. Could this bias the results? Yes, how? If you don't have a phone, you're not going to be contacted. Okay. And then, what if the sample is drawn from the telephone book? It doesn't change anything. Right? If you don't have a phone, and actually, I have never been in the phone book. No, well, that's not true. When I was in high school, if you got straight A's, Emory Telecom gave you your own phone line. So for my junior and senior year, I had my own phone line in my bedroom, which was pretty much just used for my mom to call me in the morning to wake me up. This is before cell phones, so I don't know. Yeah, I had my own phone line, my own phone number. Yeah. Okay, so other than that, I've never had a home phone in my name. Okay, 6. About 1930, a survey was conducted in New York on the attitude of former black slaves towards their owners and conditions on servitude. Some of the interviewers were black, some white. Would you expect the two groups of interviewers to get similar results? No. Um, Also, that's a weird survey to conduct in 1930. Why? The slavery was abolished in the 1860s. So there wouldn't be many people left over in 1930. You know, that's 70 years, well, 67, 68 years later. Most of them had. They had moved on. Okay, number 7. One study on slavery estimated that 11.9% of slaves were skilled craftsmen. This estimate turns out to be based on the records of 30 plantations in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana. Is it trustworthy? It's trustworthy in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, but that does not necessarily uh, represent the population as a whole. And and one sample is usually bad. I mean, you might think that it's 30 samples, but it's not. It's one sample, right, in that one place. Okay, 8. In one study, the Educational Testing Service needed a representative sample of college students. To draw the sample, they first divided up the population of all colleges and university into relatively homogeneous groups. One group consisted of all public universities with 25,000 or more students. Another group consisted of all private four-year colleges with 1,000 or fewer, and so on. Then they used their judgment to choose one representative school from each group. That created a sample of schools. Each school in the sample was then asked to pick a sample of students. Was this a good way to get a representative sample of students? Yes or no? Nope. Where did they make a mistake? Is is grouping schools into similar types okay? You know, if so, you looked and said these are all the big public universities, all the middle public universities, all the small public universities, big private. Is it okay if we group them that way? Yeah, as long as the end result is representative of those groups. But the problem they made is they chose which school was going to represent um, which group. And that's the problem. Whenever you get to choose, that takes away the idea of a simple random sample. Hey, I've got like 3 in a row right. 4. 4 in a row. Day 9. A study was done on the prevalence of chest diseases in a Welsh coal mining town. 600 volunteers had chest x-rays done. At the time, the two main chest diseases in the town were pneumonia coniosis, yeah, scarring of the lung tissue due to inhalation of dust, and tuberculosis. The data was analyzed by the order in which the volunteers presented themselves. The percentage with tuberculosis among the first 200 subjects to appear for the examination was probably blank the percentage among the last 200. Quite a bit different. Why? Why would the first 200 have a different percentage of tuberculosis than the last 200? Um, so that if you are sick, you probably are going to line up first, right? And then if you find out that other people are sick, maybe that will convince you to go and get tested. But yeah, quite a bit different. All right. Television advertising sales are strongly influenced by the Nielsen ratings. In its annual report, the Nielsen organization does not describe how it takes its samples. The report does say, Nielsen today, as in the past, is dedicated to using the newest, most reliable, and thoroughly tested research technologies. This is a commitment to those we serve through the television, cable, and advertising communities. The Nielsen data in this booklet are estimates of the audiences and other characteristics of television usage as derived from the Nielsen Television Index and Nielsen Station Index measurements. The use of mathematical terms herein should not be regarded as a representation by Nielsen that such measurements are exact to precise mathematical values. Comment briefly. There's no question there. Um, did anybody understand that? What does it say? Okay, that's really weird. There are so many ways you could comment on that. But obviously, if If you want to be trusted, you have to show your cards. Right? It's bad form to conduct a survey and say, "Trust us, we did it right." It's much better if you lay your cards on the table and let people scrutinize how you did it. Wow, that was a long read for nothing. All right, the San Francisco Examiner ran a story headline: 3 in 10 biology teachers back biblical creationism. 30% of high school biology teachers polled believe in the biblical creation, and 19% incorrectly think that humans and dinosaurs lived at the same time, according to a nationwide study published Saturday. We are doing something very, very, very wrong in biology education, said Dana Dunn, one of 2 sociologists in Texas. Dunn and Raymond Eve sent questionnaires to 20,000 high school biology teachers selected at random from a list provided by the National Science Teachers Association and received 200 responses. The newspaper got it wrong. Dunn and Eve did not send out 20,000 questionnaires. They chose 400 teachers at random from the National Science Teachers Association list, sent questionnaires to these 400 people, and received 200 replies. Why do these corrections matter? Yeah, that if they really mailed out 20,000 and only 200 responded, that means a very select type of person responded. In the other one, about half of them responded, which you would expect. Okay? Okay, 12. In any survey, a fair number of people who are in the original sample cannot be contacted by the survey organization or are contacted but refuse to answer questions. A high non-response rate is a serious problem for survey organizations. True or false, and explain. This problem is serious because the investigators have to spend more time and money getting additional people to bring the sample back up to its planned size. False. The bias is the problem. Um, the people who don't respond might have something in common.